the Science and Society Network, which is I'm from Deakin here. I'm a professor of anthropology, but I have a very interdisciplinary background. So I'm actually did combined degree in medicine and arts way back. Well, it didn't actually exist. I just started medicine and then I wanted to do arts, and then I just sweet talked my way into doing a combined degree, which took 8 years in honours as well in medical anthropology. So I've kind of had from the very start of my career this very interdisciplinary approach. And I don't know, I don't necessarily, I can show you pictures if you don't really need it. So we know all the challenges of the world today are overwhelming, and we've had lots of AI talk, but I don't know, I would suggest don't look at podcasts that tell you about how AI is going to kill everyone, because that will make you even more depressed. But putting that aside, one thing that we really need is interdisciplinary research. Oh, is someone coming?
Cavalry's on the way.
Oh, that's totally fine. So all the challenges that we are facing, from climate change, pandemics, AI, they all need more than one discipline to really address them properly. As one researcher has put it to me, interdisciplinary research is for scientific questions that can't be answered by sciencing harder. And a lot of this research happens in universities, and as we know, universities are organised into disciplines, schools and faculties that separate us all out. And this separation is necessary. I mean, there's nothing to market if you're like, if there's just like one course that everyone does, or maybe there is, I don't know. But it seems that students want to come and learn something. They want to know what they're learning. But this separation then becomes a barrier when you're wanting researchers to work across disciplines. So early on, I don't know what's wrong. It normally works. Early on in my time here at Deakin, I've now been here for 11 years, I could see that we really needed mechanisms to support interdisciplinary research. Oh, wrong side. Doesn't like this side, only likes this side. Okay. Oh, so sorry about that. So, I could see that we needed a mechanism to support research across disciplinary boundaries, and not just disciplines that are fairly close to each other, like engineering and computer science. I mean, those are all in the social sciences, anthropology and geography. Those are really important collaborations, but even more important, I think, is bridging the disciplines that we think of as STEM, science, technology, engineering and mathematics, and the ones that we call HAS, humanities and social sciences. So that's really what we've done with the Science and Society Network. We have supported that's some of us from the leadership, and I think, the painting's still there. It's just around the corner there. So we bring together scientists and social scientists from across the university, and we support seed funding for early and mid-career researchers. We launched back in 2017 with a big event, Emerging Issues in Science and Society, in collaboration with the Academy of Science, who've been really supportive. And the point here is to show how the power of putting people across very different disciplines together. So the network overall is to firstly see innovative interdisciplinary projects. And we also have created a world-leading centre for the social studies of science. So that is a discipline, a transdisciplinary area of study called science and technology studies. So we've kind of got a dual focus. So we have our flagship program is the incubator grant. And all of this it's been quite a small investment really from the university, because all of the leadership we're just doing it. We're just academics who are all really passionate about interdisciplinary research from every faculty. So we offer seed funding for EMCR, so early and mid-career researcher-led projects that reach across disciplines. So they have to involve both a STEM discipline and a HASS discipline. And we also have a really strong research environment. We have a very lively seminar program that has developed a huge library of YouTube seminars on our YouTube channel. And in all of these, we bring together a scientist and a social scientist as a discussant. So we have talks from like lots and lots of different, there's hundreds of them now. But for each of them, after the main person giving the talk, we then have a discussant, a scientist and a social scientist from the university or from beyond. And that really sets the tone for speaking across disciplines, across our different languages. So I mentioned the kind of other part, I suppose that's where the specific research interest is this area called social studies of science, where we really have an international impact. So I ran the international conference for this international organisation in Sydney in 2018, which was the first time it had been outside Euro-America. And my colleague is the editor-in-chief of the High Impact Journal of the Society, and then I ended up being the president of the Society 21 to 23, which was again the first time someone outside Euro-America had done that. So we've really punched above our weight in this field, and also seeded a network that's has conferences of like a few hundred people. We just had one a couple of months ago in collaboration with the National Communication Museum, which is Australia's newest museum. And yeah, I think it would probably be of interest to a lot of you communications people. It's just in Hawthorn, so short tram ride away. So if you're here tomorrow and you don't have any plans, I really recommend having a look at that. So I can talk about the numbers, and I don't know, I've got a Power BI I can show you, but I can also just give you the kind of the headlines. So the average ROI has been really, really high, and these are just these small funds, small seed funding, and this is so this is looking at our from 2019 we started to be able to fund to do seed funding, and so looking at our outcomes from 2019 until the end of 2024, and yeah, with the inputs versus the outputs, there's big outputs. Health is always going to have the biggest outputs because they've got a much bigger funding pool. Of the category 1 is over 2 billion with NHMRC and NRFF, whereas everyone else is sharing around less than 1 billion. But what we see, and we've got 4 faculties that are there. CV is our science, engineering and built environment. And what we can see though is, and this is just cold hard cash, there's lots of really amazing publications and engagement and impact outcomes from the projects as well. That's not captured there, but this is kind of showing us the interdisciplinary collaboration. So this is the inputs, and then this is the outcomes again, just looking at the dollars that have come out of those grants in external funding. So health collaborates with other faculties. So this is the faculty of the first investigator and the faculty of the second investigator, and we keep on going, but this is just like a crude indication. And you can see, for example, health is collaborating with people from arts and education, which is my faculty. And then actually, when you look at the external funds that they've managed to get, most of them are with that arts and education person as the second CI. So that's telling us that cross-faculty collaboration works, that it is leading to these really good external grant outcomes. It also, and when you look in, you can look on my beautiful Power BI at all the actual individual projects that we're talking about. These are, bringing arts and ed scholars, researchers into the health pool of funding, which is also incredibly important and helpful. But also that the researchers in health are then doing projects that they might not otherwise have done. So like one example is a neuroscientist who's now got a whole bunch of grants around Tourette's, looking at the urge to tick. So if we think about a whole lot of medical issues and psychological issues, there's a kind of urge to do something. And the whole paradigm of Tourette syndrome treatment has been on controlling the tics. And he, together with the philosopher, who's a phenomenologist who understands how people experience these, they developed an approach to actually look at the urge rather than the tic itself. Ooh, very impressive. Try not to break it. That's led to actually a completely new approach to not just Tourette's, but like a bunch of other projects. So that's the kind, and so it's bringing arts and ed researchers in, but also health researchers are now, looking in new fields where they wouldn't have otherwise without those collaborations. So maybe because I know we're all, it's definitely the dregs of the day, but I'll just give you a couple of examples of some of these projects that we have funded. So just a few of them. So one is from this engineer, Dr. Negim Amini, who was inspired by the COVID pandemic to develop a bracelet that can detect the temperature of the wearer and potentially the temperature of others in the vicinity. So she got funding to work with an anthropologist and an ethicist to understand the implications of the technology for users and communities. And she developed this idea of a prototype. So instead of a prototype, an object that provokes discussion and debate. So that was kind of a really nice whole kind of theoretical idea of what a prototype is that developed through that collaboration. Another colleague, Rangam Rajkowal, we supported him to do an amazing collaboration with Aboriginal artists on pigments that have been extracted from textile waste to produce a range of products for screen spray and brush painting applications. So this exhibition that came out of it has been exhibited really widely, nationally and internationally. It was just at the International Design Biennale. And again, a collaboration that just was really inspired through having the funds available. Another colleague, again, this time who is an anthropologist, Tim Neal, has led a project that brought together environmental scientists, social scientists and Indigenous knowledge holders to look at the potential benefits of Indigenous cultural burning for bushfire management in Victoria. And this, we funded this, it happened just before the devastating Black Summer bushfires of 2019 and 2020. And at that time, there was no cultural burning in Victoria. It was kind of like a concept from the north of Australia. But I think now, most people would probably not be surprised that there's cultural burning going on in Victoria, but that's very much because of this project and our support of anthropologist, environmental scientist and Indigenous knowledge holder collaboration. Another one of our grant holders, a historian, brought together public health researchers, communications researchers, and health economists to study the past, present, and future of Medicare. And which ended with a really big symposium celebrating the 40th anniversary of Medicare last year. And it's been a lot of outcomes from that. And finally, a colleague, also a historian, Tiffany Shellam, her very large body of work funded through the Science and Society Network had its genesis in a collection of fish specimens, notes and drawings collected by Noongar men in the south of WA in the 1840s and now held in the National Museum of Scotland. So we supported her, inspired her to bring together fish scientists, museum curators, and Indigenous knowledge holders to bring new life to this museum collection. So the Indigenous knowledge held in the collection, such as the Indigenous names for fish, you can kind of see it on these labels. Those have been brought back to the community, which have also helped to deepen the scientific knowledge of fish species, some of which are now extinct. So I've just given you a quick overview of the power of interdisciplinary research. Thank you.
Okay.
Peter from Queensland Uni. We do a lot of transdisciplinary research. It's a big focus for the university. How are you going with one of the things, I'm in the marketing side of things, so doing the storytelling around this. How do you go with getting over that hump of getting researchers to work together if they're in different faculties and the money flow of that, and then with grants, so obviously not internal grants, but bigger grants of sharing the pie when it comes to KPIs and just it's like an operational issue that
No, for
needs
sure.
to be overcome.
Yeah, so we kind of support our transdisciplinary researchers through like the whole life cycle of their grant that we give them, which, for operation purposes only like for the calendar year. But then we have then they become part of the alumni group. So we really talk to people about how to approach into this research, and that different disciplines, have very different expectations. There's different practices in terms of authorship, in terms of what order. For people in humanities and social sciences, being last author is like, oh, I'm last. That's like the worst. But in the sciences, it's like the best. They'll be looking at very different journals, very different outputs. And so it's really about communication and about, okay, we're going to gather this data set of the two. One is going to do analysis together. Are they going to have some analysis that they do separately? Are they going to be shared outputs separately? And look, there is a big win in there where they can be going for both grants, building off that from. So some of that external money is NHMRC grants, some ARC grants, and then there's a whole lot of pedagogy grants as well. So there is a win-win.
You look to them to publish?
Oh yeah, so we keep track of all the publications as well. So that's it's easy but
how do you find where do they sit journal?
So it's normally it could be both. So there'd be some that are in some publications that are focused on humanities and social sciences journal, and some in sciences.
They don't fall between two fields.
Well, there are. I mean, I think the higher up the journal tree you go, the more interdisciplinary. So, like, everyone's going to have nature paper, no matter what, where they're from. So there are some that are acceptable to both. I mean, there's some in our university. Business and law is the most narrow in that they actually have like a list of journals, and if you're not publishing on that list, then it doesn't count. Which seems big
Is that
favourite.
your own list or is that the Business Echo list?
I think it's the business echo list, yeah, I'm not in that bucket, so I'm just kind of going what others are complaining about. But yeah, but for definitely in humanities and social sciences, and also from, you know, my experience in the sciences, to be interdisciplinary is actually really a plus. And we heard before about the dementia centre, and you know, I think that's a really good example. And in saying that, this collaboration with the social scientists that really kind of opened up totally new vistas about what could be.
Has this created benefits of teaching and learning level as well? Sorry, that's my son.
Yeah.
So has it broken down like cultural barriers, for example, where there were silos previously that can impact, you know, students as well, rather than just being focused on research?
Yeah, well, we do have a lot of these projects have involved PhD students. And that's definitely one of the outcomes that we look at is PhD students involved, and then PhD stipends that we get as part of external grants as well. So, and in turn, and some honours students sometimes as well, which is really wonderful. I'm quite passionate about that honours pathway, particularly at a place like Deakin, where we get a lot of our best PhD students through that pathway. But I mean, all of us are teaching staff who are leaders of the Science and Society Network, and we are in arts and education now. We've created a digital cultures major, which is like baby steps towards the more interdisciplinary work. But we are seeing more interdisciplinary courses across the university, like things like ecology and engineering, and like sports science and business.
Yeah.
Yes. You guys would know. I'm just really out of my depth here. Yeah. So I think there's potential for more.
One discipline of that you find consistent than others.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see on our data that business and law has not had been able to take advantage of this as much as other faculties, and but my co-convener, Vicky Kwang, who's in the law school, you know, we're kind of on a mission, and yeah, and it's really hard to know because, you know, from her perspective, she's like, well, if arts and ed can do it, then biz law can do it, and which is absolutely true. So I think yeah, we're working on that.
You can't overlay it over the AIC grants.
What do you mean?
In the sense that you're looking at these combinations, they're all very realistic.
Yeah.
In terms of building using this as a basis for pursuing grants.
Yeah, no, you definitely can. So, I mean, you do have to make a decision about who is leading a grant and how. So, yeah, I mean, and something else we workshop with our recipients and alumni is how to craft interdisciplinary grants, how to make it work for you. Because it can be, yeah, you have to make it into a stream. Say, I'm a fabulous legal scholar, and I also have this understanding of, you know, of biotech, and this is, and whether it's fellowship, which are, well, not really existing very much more in the ARC space with the grant reviews. But say that you're saying that if you're self-agreeing this or it's a team, you need to make it work for you. It needs to be credible to reviewers who might be from that, you know, other discipline. But it can, there's a fine line between being innovative and saying, you know, I'm bringing this new area into my home discipline. There's a fine line between that and then becoming unrecognisable to your own discipline.
You have a champion of the hierarchy.
Yeah, so we have funding, well, we've been funded through the DVCR office from the very start. Really, I kind of went there with this as an idea And it's not, because it's not a research centre. It's not like, it's an enabling mechanism for interdisciplinary research. So we have been kind of funded year on year. Our funding, research funding is now being decentralised. You know, you just kind of go re-centralised, decentralised in this kind of cycle. So now the faculties are funding it, and we're just kind of seeing what difference that will, how that will make a difference. And partly is also always about trying to align research with teaching more. So we have now kind of slowly this balanced research and teaching institution. So, but yes.
Where does it fit in the university research?
Well, our yes, I'm glad you asked. Well, yeah, we've got a guiding plan, which is not just in this particular presentation, but yeah, our new research innovation guiding plan is very top level, and we kind of hit all of those. It's all about growing researchers, impactful research, kind of all the things that you expect and everything that we focus on. And yeah, interdisciplinary research is absolutely there, headlined, and it is also very much headlined in the current review of the ARC, and I'm sure it will be in the Chubb
The R&D one.
yeah, surge.
Yeah.
So everything's moving us towards that. I can't see anything, and also now that the ARC has, and I'm on the College of Experts, and we just had a webinar this morning. So yeah, ERA is like dead and buried in any form. So it's just, they're just going to create some kind of dashboard with data that, so it's, so nothing that anyone can gain, I think. So there'll be all the gaining for you
You will
with the
miss it.
jobs.
You will miss it. Oh,
You'll miss it. Yeah, right.
let's go. Dashboard is going to be problematic. But anyway, we'll find
Yeah.
out. Tell me, do you get a bunch of applications that you could fund, but you just haven't got money for them?
Yes, we do. Yeah, so we kind of funding, yeah, maybe like a third, quarter to a third. So like last year in an ad hoc way, our DVCR said, oh, you can fund, we'll double it, you can fund 10 instead of 5. And next year looks like we'll be able to do 6. So it is like it's a small number, but on the other hand, they are team projects, and we do keep our alumni in there. So now we're well over 50 research teams that we are.
How do you market it? How do your marketers market
We don't market it outside the university. Yeah, like we have maybe. Well, and actually we've just, we've just had a master brand. I don't know, is anyone from Deakin? No. We've got Deakin master brand, so all of the brands are now gone, and I imagine that might be a cycle in marketing as well, like to go get rid of all, get everything, everyone onto the same brand. So our brand, which is kind of pretty, is gone now. So yeah, we don't market it. I mean, I suppose I'm not. Yeah.
I should sit down, because when you mentioned diversity of branding, that's where I came in the 1990s. Now I was around for the third time.
I know. Well, things have something to do. The master brand.
I think it's, I mean, what do you do? What's the spread? I mean, I'm looking at the dollars. The dollars is obviously driven by
Yeah.
health. But just in terms of units, in terms of actual grant allocations.
Yeah.
What's the spread? Oh, is that it there?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so like
Sorry.
500K in arts and
It's a significant amount of money, yeah.
So that's new money, and it's supporting researchers who are really keen to do something really different. So I think
How does this sit with the wicked problems group?
Yeah, so exactly. So our DDCR is extremely focused on transdisciplinary research. We're just launching a hub around aging care and palliative care and transdisciplinary. Yeah, that's the thing with this place, is that we all find out each other's level. But yeah, absolutely around problems. So, our DDCR funded a research project, where we asked 30,000 Australians what matters to them. And that's not the research strategy, I should say. Certainly for me as a marketer in research, it's a great narrative platform to be able to look at, well, what are the problems, and put it, and they're all incredibly complex. So they all need transdisciplinary, whatever you want to say, everyone's got words for it, but you need to put all of those contexts around those problems in order to not solve them, but at least iteratively solve them. So yeah, we're using, we're very focused on putting together research around problems. That's why I was asking you, because obviously one of the operational issues with that is everyone's like, well, where's the money? You know, who's getting the money? What KPI? Whose KPIs being ticked? Which college? The tyranny of some of those.
I know, it's
Universities.
funny and all that, yeah, well, now
Yeah.
that all the faculties are like, 'cause now, so we've had some of the faculty say, well, if we're putting in a quarter of the money, then how do we know we're gonna get a quarter of the grants?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's just tricky conversations. You know, even at the impact marketing level, trying to get textually broad, you know, if our strength is, I don't know, addiction, that comes from right across the university, lots of different formats. And so, you know, the last year we've spent doing a lot of storytelling that's trying to pull together all of those things around topics. Is that what people care about? So yeah, it's just a really interesting, I think this is gonna go gangbusters.
Yeah.
Next, yeah.
We'll keep on doing it, and just, and I mean, another thing that I've thought about, is whether, is to have interdisciplinary PhD supervision. I mean, I think that, I don't know if that's something you can market, like.
We're already doing it.
Yeah, but to have it as a, yeah, you will have, you know, every panel
As a
will
better-
have
Yeah.
interdisciplinary. I don't know if students care about that, but.
I think some do, you know, and again, I guess it depends on problems you're trying to solve, and whether you, as a PhD, students emotionally connect to those, and therefore want to do your PhD in that, and then they would care. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes, but thank you.
Thank you.
Um,